G'day everybody, it's me again. I thought I'd show you guys a little bit of the ignition system here on the BMW. A little issue with one of these plug boots, it's a little cracked. I'll have to replace that very shortly so it doesn't leak anywhere. But yeah, it's coil on plug, so obviously one coil per cylinder. Being a 90-degree V8, we have 8 of them, and yeah, I suppose it's not as easy to change the plugs as say like on a Charade or a Corolla or something like that, but it's really not that hard either. I mean, a few people told me, oh, don't get one, you'll hate working on it, you won't want to work on it, so that plug boot's fucked too. It's going to need replacing. But yeah, I had a lot of warnings that I wouldn't want to work on it, you wouldn't like working on it, it's too complicated, things like that. And I really haven't had anywhere near as many issues as people have made out. I'm sure there's a little bit of a lack of room back in here, but it's not too bad. I can get to everything still. And for anybody that does want to work on a European car like this, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is to be gentle. Take your time, don't rush things, don't force things. If something doesn't move or a bolt doesn't want to come undone, don't force it, you know, wait, think about it. You know, don't over tighten things either, that's very important too. Be very gentle doing things up. You don't want to break something just because you're a bull in a china shop and you're not using a torque wrench and you overdo it, you know, things like that. So very basic things to remember. Now I'll show you the other side here, because there was more than just, you know, you've got the spark plug cover. That's what the other side looked like before I started. You pop the 2 little clips out of here, 2 bolts come out, and then you can pull the whole cover off. It gives you access to the coil packs, and then of course once you've got your access to the coil packs, it's very easy. You just slide the little lock out, unclip it, and as you pull it up and out, pull the plug out, and there she comes. And that boot is alright, but it looks like there's a bit of gunk in there. Have to check that. But the valve cover gasket on this side doesn't appear to be leaking anywhere near as bad as the other side anyway. That valve cover gasket will need replacing at some stage, and I suppose I should try and do the most difficult one first. Oh, that's bloody loose. That was loose as. Loose as. Yes, I'm using the factory toolbox spark plug tool. It's pretty much the exact size you need to get in there. Now I was considering putting some platinum, iridium, whatever plugs in here, but from what I've read around the joint, they are a big issue with these motors. They're a big no. You don't really want to use them. Plugs not quite, just not quite loose yet. As you can see, the plugs are very deep down inside the head. They are a double overhead cam 32 valve V8, so you are going to be buried down in there pretty deep. And that's well worn. A little bit of oil and gunk around the boot. I'd say those plugs have been in there for a very long time. A very long time. I have to go grab the other plugs wherever I've put them. Now some of you may be asking why I'm using Japanese NGK spark plugs in a European car. I trust them. Simply all there is to it, I trust them. They are, pardon me, slightly different, as in they're only a 2-prong instead of a 4. But so far I haven't had any issues. They're well worn, very well worn. Maybe even running a little rich. But the OBD did actually tell me it was running a little rich, and that's probably due to the fact that the Bank 2, which is the one we're working on, catalytic converter, sorry, not catalytic converter, oxygen sensor, is throwing a code because it's at the end of its life. Basically it's had enough. this up. Yeah, these spark plugs are kind of, they actually don't feel like they're quite tight enough, but I suppose it's better to be right on the edge of being just right rather than being over tight and then getting stuck in the head. And then, yeah, if you had to take the head off this, it'd probably write the car off. It sucks a bit, but hey, apparently it's 60 hours of work to do a head gasket set on these, so that is a long job. And if you're looking at dealership rates to do a head gasket, yeah, that's more than I paid for the car. So crazy. Also, I find when you work on these cars, it's important to do everything in such an order that there's no way in hell you can ever drop anything down a plug hole, because that would be another major disaster. See, that plug's been burning better. In fact, that one actually looks like it's been running a bit lean compared to the others. Maybe that's the cylinder that's got the vacuum leak in the manifold gasket. Not sure. Yeah, this car's done 160,000 kilometers, and that's about the age that the valve cover and intake manifold gaskets need to be done. But if I'm going to do that, I'll do the whole lot in one whack, because some of the disassembly overlaps, and to just change like just the intake gaskets without doing the throttle body gasket or the CCV gasket at the rear of the engine, there wouldn't be much point you know, not doing those while the manifold is off, because it's so easy to get to while the manifold is off. Another thing I have to consider is these injectors are 160,000 kilometers old as well, so tweak. Well, these front ones are heaps easy to get to. Come out of the back anyway. That one's very tight. That one's very tight. Leave that for a second. Oh, that one's okay. Don't know what this paint is here. It's like a hammer tone. Interesting, they painted the heads, or the valve covers I should say. I wonder if that's factory or if somebody's been in there. Yeah, see, that one's in the middle. That one's about the right colour. I wonder if we've had misfires or otherwise here at one stage. Right, so there's only that one there that's a little bit tight. I've got some WD-40 out here. There we go. Now the idea here is I'll put just a little bit on the top of the plug just to loosen the grip of any crap, but not quite enough to drown it, because a little bit will run in past the plug into the cylinder when it's when it moves. So just have to be nice and gentle. Yeah, that's all it needed, hopefully. goes. That plug has been in there a very long time. A very, very long time. In fact, I'd almost be, well, actually I wouldn't, but I've always wondered about tapping or cleaning spark plug threads with the tap, because I'm always worried that I'm going to get some crap in the cylinder and bung a ring or a valve. Oh man, that one was tight. Put a rag down there. Yeah, there's a lot of crap in that hole. Might send a rag down there with a bit of a rescue. See what I mean about the WD getting onto the plug and getting in the hole? This will do. There we go. 90% of it out. There we go. Last plug. Yeah, these are pre-gapped. I don't think you're meant to change the gap on these multi-prongs anyway. Oh. Putting tools down again. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice and smooth on the way back in, thanks to that little bit of lubricating oil. There we go. So that's the plugs themselves done. Now we'll put our coil packs back in. Like I said, at a later date I will have to replace those dodgy boots. Dodgy boots can leak, and if they leak spark, then I can be in the shit. Once again, I'll put all of these back into place before I start putting bolts back in to reduce any chance of any issues. This is not the first BMW I've worked on, by the way, guys. I've worked on a few of them in my time. Like I like to say to people, there's not much I'm scared of as far as engines or electronics or anything like that goes, and having confidence, well, sometimes you don't want to be too confident, but being confident sometimes can be the difference between being able to do a job and not, even if you do have the skills. I'm sure you guys just love watching me play with bolts. Once again, I'm going to put all of the bolts into place first, and then once I have all the bolts in place, I will then tighten them all, because I don't want to forget to tighten any bolt or nut. And if I did them sort of one at a time, there's a chance that I could forget one, and that would suck, especially if it came loose at an inappropriate time and I ended up stranded somewhere. And these only need a very gentle nip. They don't need to be tight at all they do is hold the coil in place. If you tighten these bolts too tight, you can actually pull them out of the heads, and you have some troubles. So nip, that's it. Nip, that's it. Nip. 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 Nipped. And last one. That's it. A spark plug cover. Gently wiggle that all back into place. There we go. There we go. And our two little flies. Our two little cover bolts here. It's a bit tight, you're going to see how that thread starts. Doesn't feel quite right. Once again, these don't need to be reefed on, they only need to be nipped up. Damn, lines are in an awful spot. Got it. There we go. And our two little plastic, wherever they went, here we are. One and two. Alrighty, suppose I better find the key. And there we go. Excellent. She's running pretty smoothly. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching.